Hey everybody, welcome to the Hurdy-Burke Internet Broadcast Network, sitting here in the state-of-the-art studios right here in Round Rock, Texas. Nate's laughing. Nate's laughing. Hey,
I'm surrounded by walls of technology.
I know, isn't that cool? I
It
mean, it's just beautiful in here.
is.
Hey, listen, tonight I've got Nate, and pronounce your last name one more time.
Hilpert.
Hilpert, and Nate is with Heart Support, and we've got three cool things we're gonna go over tonight. But before I get my listeners into the show, I want to thank all my sponsors. You'll be on the custom player, but in order, because we're going to do a real short broadcast tonight, because Nate wants to put this up on Heart Support and get it out there to his listeners and the people that he's trying to minister to. So we've talked about it, and we're just going to basically answer three questions tonight, make this a good archive for him. But if you happen to be listening in to the broadcast, thank you. I even opened up Q&A tonight for the first time, Nate. I have no idea how it works. I'm sure it's chat. I don't have a chat monitor, so for some reason you are happen to listen from somewhere and you ask a question, I'm not going to guarantee we'll see it before it goes by the chat thing, but you might be the only one too, so we might see everything you post, but that's all right. So welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, man, we've got I know you want to make this brief so you can get this out to your on your player, to your your people on your site, right? But you asked me before we came in and started the show tonight that you wanted me to ask you like three questions,
Yeah.
right? And the first one was, you have a story.
Yes,
Everybody has
I
a
do.
story. And part of the ministry you're in with Heart Support is that story.
Yes.
So I'm going to get out of the way. And Nate, what's your story?
My story begins back when I was 15. So let's see. Um,
Have fun, man. I don't
yeah,
have any heavy metal to play while you're thinking.
yeah, heavy metal. Oh no, I need my thinking music.
Yeah, just, I wished I had some.
Yeah, I guess I'll do a quick intro about myself. The reason why I
Okay.
pause is because, me starting my story, nobody knows who I am. So
Yeah,
I
well,
guess
I was going to say, I could have asked you what I usually ask everybody, your favorite band, your favorite color, right? When the last concert you went to?
Oh man. Probably the last concert I went to was my friend's band. They're a local band in Austin, Texas called Shadow of Whales.
Cool.
I go out and I
What a
support
name.
them because my best friend is in that band, so
All
I
right.
support them. Favorite color is blue. Always has been.
Always will be,
Always will be.
which that
I'm a
makes total
stickler.
sense.
Yep.
All right. So, see, we're getting to the introduction part. All right. So, are you from Austin?
I
Or,
am.
okay, so you are actual Austinite.
Yes.
Is that what they call us?
Something like that.
I know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so born and raised Austin,
Not born, raised since
but
I was one.
here most of your life.
Yeah, I went to local high school and then I went to UT and I graduated last year with a communication studies and psychology degree.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I sped ahead. I graduated 4 years early, so I was ready to get out of there, to say the least.
That's awesome. And so, all right. So, and before that,
And then before that,
I mean, you've been in Austin the whole time, but I
mhm.
mean, have you left and come back, or you've been actually here the whole time?
Yeah, I've been here the whole time
Oh,
since I've been
wow.
here.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
you've seen Austin go from
nothing to gigantic. Yeah, yeah. I drive by places all the time where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's just exploded. It went from literally just like a flat land to
right.
this huge like mega shopping center
Right. I
all
can't
over the
believe
place.
that you wouldn't recognize Round Rock from the 70s, right?
Uh-uh.
Based on where these
Well, I
tollways are at,
wasn't
the
here in the
old back
70s,
roads.
but
I know, but I'm saying I know you weren't, but I was.
yeah.
I remember when there was one neighborhood here,
Yep.
right? And they were just developing it in 1325, and all these were little two-lane back roads. There was nothing out here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't recognize it today.
Yeah.
If you weren't here 20 years and came back, you go, what?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into you. So, a little more background. So, you got the UT graduate degree, right? Or
Yep.
you graduated, and you had it in what, psychology and what?
Communication studies.
Wow. So okay, and then now, so now it's time for your story.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I'll jump in. I was this nebulous individual where,
Nebulous. I
yeah,
like that
it's
word.
just like this is Nate, and here's this. I was like, man, that's a
Well,
quick
you said you wanted to
jump.
do this in
Yes.
15
Oh,
minutes. I was just
good.
trying to help you
Yeah,
out, man.
yeah. I guess that just means I have to talk faster now.
No. You just go. You just take your time.
Sure. So, my story, a lot of my story starts when I was about 15. At that point in my life, I was transitioning from junior year in high school to senior year in high school, and I was invited to church by a friend. And I hadn't been to church since I was like 10 years old, super tiny, and I hated church. I grew up Catholic, and
Oh,
I had to tuck in my shirt, and as a kid, that was the worst thing in the
rules,
whole world.
rules.
I was okay with all the rules, but if you make me tuck in my shirt, come on, man, I don't want to tuck in my shirt.
Really?
Yeah, my parents would always say, you need to tuck in your shirt. And I was like, doesn't God accept me the way I am? They're like, yes, but you're gonna dress your
So
best
you
for
had a
God's
little
house.
bit of the rebellious
I
thing
did,
going
I
along
did.
with it,
Yeah,
which it kind of help. They kind of create some of that, But
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
so around 15, I started getting into metal music, and I decided, at that point, my friend invited me to church, and I played with in a band. Excuse me, I'd played in a band with him when I was in middle school, and so he knew that I played bass, and they needed a bassist for their band at church. And at the time, I joined high school when I was 12, and I was 4'10", so I was very young, very short. And I just caught up to all of the incoming freshmen in age and height when I turned a senior. And so something clicked inside of me, and I just understood how to date girls all of a sudden.
Really?
Yeah. And so when he invited me to play in a band at church, the equation in my head was band leads to more girls. Therefore, I will come to your church to date your women. So, and long story short, it actually ended up working out. I met my
I'm
fiance
sure.
there the first
Okay.
day.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think I read your story that's true. That you
Yeah,
did meet her
it
there.
did. It did.
Okay, but you got a deeper story about that,
Yeah, I
right?
got yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's a little bit of a side hole.
Right.
So my friend invited me, and I said yes, and I started to get connected with people, and it was for me at the time. That was really the lowest point in my life when I was 15, because when I got into high school, I started to really develop this obsession with video games. And it really developed into a full-blown addiction by the time that I was 15. I would play 20 hours a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I would wake up at 6 a.m. and play
And you
until
could just
2
get
a.m.
right on and then not even be distracted and except to eat or drink
Yep.
water or whatever you're
I
doing
literally
and
would.
stay in it all day.
Yep. I would sprint to and from the
That's
bathroom.
tough.
I would eat only if food was brought to me. I would get one cup of water at the beginning of the day and then never leave. It was
Really?
yeah. And then to make myself forget that I was playing 20 hours of video games a day, I would watch porn throughout the day
So then you
intermittently.
jump on the easy way access to porn on the internet, right?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. So then you would jump into that. So
Yep.
not only are you on 20 hours, now you're going out and
Well,
looking at the ladies online,
it
right?
was
I
all within
gotcha.
the 20 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. And so ultimately, what I was doing in those moments was escaping.
Yep.
You know, I
From something.
It was from a deep sense of inadequacy that I had. When I grew up, I was a very competitive kid, and to me, what value meant is if I could prove to you that I'm worth something. So if I competed and I beat you in a competition,
You
then
felt good.
I would feel like I have proven my worth. And if I didn't have that, then I had this like emptiness inside of me, and I didn't know how
So
to
your
handle it.
self-esteem and everything at that age was attached to worthiness, the control
Competition.
of being accepted, and all those things that go with it in the competition, right?
Yeah, my
And
worth was.
emptiness without it. So you were always out there filling that void with something.
Yep. Well, I was very competitive, and then all of a sudden, I found this video game thing. I was like, this is way easier than competing with everybody.
No kidding,
So
because you were competing against other people, but online. But it's challenging. So you were still occupied. Did you play sports?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, until you start playing the video
Yeah, I
games.
was on the third best team in the nation in soccer when I was
Ah,
12.
so you were a soccer player.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
by the time that I was 15, it kind of waned after that.
Yeah, because you okay. So keep going
Yeah.
with the story. I
Yep.
keep
So
interrupting you, but I have questions. Okay.
sure, sure. So I got to church, and that really became a beacon of hope in my week. My week was very lonely and very empty, and that
So
was
you
like,
enjoyed going to this. You got to play, and you got to go to church, right?
yeah.
Okay. All
And
right.
so I started to meet people who really cared about me, and then I got connected with one of the leaders there, and he was into metal music too. And he invited me to my first concert, and it was really exciting. And for me, when I went to that concert, not only did I look forward to it and count down the days and buy the songs and learn the lyrics, and it was once I got to the venue,
Mm-hmm.
I got to leave my world behind. You know, I got to leave all the struggles that I had, all the difficulties that I had, all the emptiness, and I left that. And I re-engaged with this, or I first engaged with this new world of people who were all into the same thing that I was into, and I could scream the lyrics and mosh pit and crowd surf and go crazy and not get judged. And it was just this totally different place where I didn't have to think about anything in my world. And after the show, I went and I met one of the lead singers of the bands. And I said, your music's made such a difference in my life. You're doing so many cool things, and just wanted to encourage you in that. And took a picture with him, and when I went home, uh, life went back to normal.
So
And
so it was a big up
big up,
and then a big down,
big down.
and then you look forward to that next round, right? To go
Yeah,
up and then down. So you're on a roller coaster on this gig to
yeah.
start with.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And so, once I went back to church, I started to really, engage with the people there. And then I felt God for the first time while I was playing on stage. I watched one of my youth pastors walk in and start worshiping, and just something felt different. I can't really explain it very well, but I felt like that emptiness changed.
Yep.
Not that it went away, but it just felt different.
Yeah.
And for me, that was God. And so shortly thereafter, I quit that church, and because the soccer season started back up, and so my spiritual journey takes this gap between that year and then my freshman year in college. And then I got into a small group in college, and there were two guys that really picked up where that community left off, where they just really cared about me. And they asked me about my homework and about my girlfriend, about my
So
tests.
they
Like,
stayed on you.
they no, 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 they did not stay on me. They
They just
cared
cared.
about the little
That's
things,
cool. That's cool.
and they taught me how to read the Bible. I had no idea how to open it up and what a chapter or a book or a verse was, and taught me how to pray and really talk about my struggles. I didn't really know how to do that, but they brought it out of me, and so it was a really amazing year of growth for me. And then I got into the 12 steps that next summer, and my sponsor took me where my small group left off again, and I really got to the bottom of my fears and of my addictions and my resentments, and healed a lot of my relationships, and just really
Wow.
changed me,
That's
in a
cool.
lot of different ways. And then that same year, once I finished the 12 steps, I went back to the church I started at, and I started to be a small group leader and 12-step leader for other people there, and I watched their lives change through the same things that
That's
God had done
awesome.
in my life. And then a year passed from that, so I'd been doing that for a year, and it was my last semester in college. And all of a sudden, it hit me. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? I had no idea. I've been racing through school. I was 19 years old. I was about to go into the big bad world, get my 2 degrees, and leave, and I had no idea what I was going to do.
Yep.
So I started praying about it, and that youth leader that invited me to that concert invited me to write. He knew that I was a good writer, and he invited me to write for this nonprofit that he was working for. So
That's cool.
I said,
Is that the one you're with now?
yeah, don't
Okay.
spoil the story, man.
I'm
Don't
I'm
spoil the
not.
story. Hey.
I'm going to lead into the next question.
Sure,
Just keep
sure.
going.
So yeah, he invited me to work for this write for this nonprofit, and I started to write for it. And then they needed someone to go on Warped Tour, which is a music festival during the summer. That's
Yep.
perennial. It always happens during the summer, and it's 2 months. And in 50 days, they go to 40 different cities, and it was just an amazing place, amazing adventure for me. And once that was over, they offered me a full-time job.
Cool. All right.
So that's where we are right now. I'm with Heart Support, and
Heart support.
yes. So now that I've given you all the fodder, let me connect the dots for you. So
All right.
back when I was 15 and I went to that concert, the youth leader that invited me there is my director now, and the band guy that I met there is the founder of this nonprofit. And 5 years ago, he started to pray. God gave him a vision for this ministry, and he prayed, God, would you start to prepare people for Heartsport? Would you start to prepare
Right.
and change people and raise them up to be the leaders of this ministry?
That's cool.
4.5 years later, after all of the recovery, after all of the spiritual journey, after all of that, here I am. When I met him at that time when he prayed that prayer, and 4.5 years later, it's me.
Right. And the thread was growing all along.
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
were threaded in at a time, and it just slowly evolved to that point. So it was natural. It
yeah,
was already being prepared, right?
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so not only am I working with the youth leader that invited me to the concert, I'm working for the leader of the band that was at that concert. I am helping the same kid that I was, the metal fan who's stuck in addictions and inadequacy and depression
Right.
and different things
Wow.
like that. And I'm helping them through small groups and through 12 steps. And it's just the full loop, the full arc of my story is really cool, because I feel so affirmed in what I'm doing right now, and like what I'm doing is really where I'm meant to be at this point in my life.
Yeah, and I'd say that being around you and seeing the passion you've been talking about it and being around you with it, yes, I would say that's exactly where you belong. So,
Thanks.
all right, so I got to lead you into your next question.
Yes.
All right, so we mentioned heart support,
Yep.
but we haven't talked about who is and what is heart support.
Yeah. Yeah. So heart support, from the topical level, helps the college age metal music fan overcome the struggles in their lives. So think the 18 to 24-year-old who wears band T-shirts
Right.
and skinny jeans, and maybe has some tattoos and piercings, and
Doesn't
um,
tuck in his shirt.
it doesn't tuck in his heck no, and he that individual who loves metal music, whatever they're going through, our purpose is to help them overcome it. And so, really, the way the heart behind Heart Support really goes back to my first concert. I mentioned that when I got there, it was this escape from my world, and it was a high, like you said. And then once I left, the venue closed, the band got in their van, and they left. I crashed, because I had to pick up all the baggage that I checked at the door.
Right, and
There's
take it
no,
back home with you. Right.
yeah, there's nothing in that moment right there for that fan, you know.
So hope
So yeah,
and all that that goes along with this for the demographic of kids you're around today, your age group. I'm a little
hmm
bit beyond that. I
yep.
know my time was a little different, right?
hmm
But so there's a lot of heavy metal, huh? There's a lot of following in that niche area.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to kind of pick back up where I just
Yeah,
left
keep
off.
going. Okay.
Um, so once that fan leaves and re-engages life, there's nothing for them in that moment. And so what we're creating at Heartsport is something to give them right there. And so we're partnering with bands all across the nation, thousands
Okay.
of them, and we're cataloging their stories, what they've been through, whether it's abuse or addictions or depression or self-harm or suicidal thoughts or
Yep.
whatever they've been through.
Okay.
We're getting videos of it. We're getting them to write blogs, Twitter takeovers, a number of different things, and we're giving each band a page so that when they interact with that fan, they can say, "Hey, I've got this place for you to go. I totally hear your story. I understand it because I've been through it,
That's
and
awesome.
you're not alone. You know, there's hope for you. You can overcome because
That's
I
pretty
have."
awesome.
Yeah, and so all these bands will have their own page on Heartsport, and it's a tool that they can use to help their fans, and it's a place where their fans can go once a concert ends. And once they're there, once they see their heroes, like imagine the fan seeing his hero, say that they're going through the exact same thing that he's going through, like in that moment, that is crazy powerful.
It is.
And then it'll connect them to Heart Support, which is full of other music fans
Right.
who are encouraging one another to overcome their struggles. And then from there, that's really where we start to connect them to small groups and 12-step groups and churches and different mediums of healing where we can really help them overcome these struggles.
Right. So yeah, because that to me seems when you just said that, I'm just thinking how cool is that? And you guys got a new website on to boot,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So we redesigned our website to support this vision. As we're building it out, building partnerships with bands, we shifted our focus from our blog to a place where we can point people to the community on our
Oh,
website,
absolutely.
because ultimately that's what matters. Our blog is a tool that we use, but our forums, our community tab, our bands, that's really where they're going to start to get connected and
Awesome.
start to heal, and that's what's most important to
And
us.
so with that, now that we know a little bit about you, a little bit about what heart support is,
Yeah.
what are you particular looking for? What kind of support do you guys need?
Yeah, so there are three different kinds of support that we need. First, and the most obvious is financial. One of the coolest things that I love about my personal support team, my salary is based on people who support me individually. The coolest thing about that is that I get to meet so many different people who might be doing something in life that they're not 100% passionate about. They've got a 9 to 5 that they're doing because it pays the bills, but they have a heart to do something more, to be a part of something greater than themselves.
Right.
And what I'm doing gives them the opportunity to be a part of something that's really going to make a difference in the music fans' life. And that's not for everybody. Not everybody's super into music, but for somebody who's passionate about music, this is going to make a difference in fans of music's lives. And so I get to invite them to be a part of what I'm doing. And so I love the people on my financial support team. They sacrifice their hard work and partner with me. They support me. They allow me to do this mission that I'm doing. And so, I got this image at the beginning of the time where I was starting to fundraise. I felt like, I'm going off to war, and I have all this rank, this army of people who's, washing my family's clothes and cooking our meals and smithing my sword and, like supporting me. Like, it's just so cool. It's one of the coolest things to have a team of people who encourage me, believe in me, and love me. And so the first need that we have is financial. And the easiest way to do that is on our website. It's heartsport.com or heartsport.cloverdonations.com. and then / Nate-Hilpert, and got that link on our site, and it's very easy to do it online.
And we'll put the link on this custom player for your site. So don't worry
Cool.
about it if you didn't write that down.
Yeah, yeah. The
Okay.
second way, I'm actually the head of our volunteer team, and there are
Okay.
10 different roles that people can fill on our volunteer team. But ultimately, the volunteer team's mission is to do the work it takes to take our vision and make it a reality. And I just launched a volunteer team May 1st, so
Hmm.
not too long ago, and we're really beginning this huge journey, and it's awesome. So volunteering is always a huge need. So if someone were if whoever's listening, if you are interested in being a part of this hands-on, I have a myriad of opportunities for you to do that. And then the last way is prayer. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're making a difference in people's lives, and hopefully we're leading them to faith and to know that Jesus loves them and that God loves them, and that ultimately this life is a big love story. Like he wants just to woo us.
It's
And
good news,
yeah, good news. Yeah, exactly.
right?
And so we want obviously God's favor in this. And so to have people praying for us, it's just an encouragement. Like to know that somebody's praying for me, it's like one of the coolest things ever when I'm going through something or works hard, and I have someone text me and say, "Hey man, I'm praying for you." Like that's really cool. So the three ways are financial, volunteer, and prayer.
And the volunteer and the community aspect of that, Nate, can go back to church level that's offering, you need support from the churches, right?
Mhm.
Especially if they have 12-step programs and they have ways to incorporate people. So you're reaching out to that church community too, right?
Yeah, yeah. One of the easiest ways if you're part of a church is for you to connect with us at Heart Support, and we will send our mission is to send the people that we know in that area to your church, and then not only to send them there, but to teach them how to be a part of a church, and to teach a church how to minister to these particular people, because they're a lot of churches don't know how to minister to the metal music fan who needs to take a smoke break in the middle of service. And so we teach both sides.
Funny you should say
Yeah, you
that.
know, we teach both sides because ultimately we're in it for the good of the music fan, and we want both to win, because when both win, that's really when the people that we care about are gonna get the help they
And
need.
can I say something on a personal level? Do you
Sure.
mind if I interject a little bit?
Yeah.
I remember my older days, and I remember that I went through the same thing you did. I basically walked away from it because it was all rules, regulations, tuck in the shirt, cut the
Yep.
hair a certain way, act a certain way, right? And I walked away from it, but I cranked it back up in the 90s by teaching 12-step groups.
Yeah.
And I used a lot of the Minutes Meyer stuff and a lot of the divorce classes. But I used to be the guy that would go out between the service and the 12-step and smoke a cigarette and just blow the Baptist mind.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, you can have a lot of things going that don't look very Christian in your life when you start your journey, and that's what you guys cater to, is just caring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you let people come in however they want, be who they want, and let them figure it out, and just support them, right?
Yeah.
And just care about them.
Yep.
And I think that that is what today people want to see, is not the acting out, or the acting, but the actual acting out of the faith, right?
Yeah.
So that you can have something to be drawn to. So you guys are just this big shining beacon of light within this very dark place,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm going on Warped Tour for the second time in a little while here, and the comments that I got from the first Warped Tour were phenomenal. People, I don't find myself a particularly positive person. Like the guy who is out there, it's like everybody's like, "Man, you're so calm down." But like on tour, everybody was just so blown away by the message of Heart Support,
Hmm.
and by God working through me. Like that place really is dark, and you know. The light doesn't have to do much when it shows up in the darkness. It's just got to be, and so
Put a seed out there, man.
yeah, so we
That's
get
all
we
you
get the
need.
opportunity. It's a really really cool place.
That's awesome. All right. So, any final thoughts on your short show tonight?
No, man, just thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being such an awesome supporter of what we're doing. And
Hey, and you have my commitment to that,
yeah,
and it'll go beyond what we're doing there. There'll always be that if you need
yeah,
it. So you know that.
yeah.
Okay.
You've been a great friend to me, great encouragement. Every time I see you, you've been awesome, and thank you for listening.
And guys, I'm going to say something personally. Go check out heartsupport.com. Nate's bio is right on that new website, and I encourage you to go look at all the bios and read those of the people that were instrumental and behind the scenes. They're all great stories, and they're all right there on the site. And besides that, the site was set up right, Nate, from the way that it looks, the way that it brings you in, the way that it appeals to what the kids expect to see today and everything. So go check out heartsupport.com, and I'll tell you what, go look for Nate and then get with him and donate some money.
Thanks.
Throw $10 there.
Yeah,
Because if
thanks.
50 people throw $10, that's $500. If 20 people throw $20, then that's 400. So my point is, little amounts add up to big amounts.
Yeah.
And so if your church or you want to do a fundraising thing with him, just get with him and he'll customize it and work it out with you. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to be involved in any way, I'd love to hear from you. And can we put my contact information in the box, or
Yeah.
easy way to contact me?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
going to
cool.
say that we'll put it on the custom player and a link direct to your we'll put a bulletin board inside the custom player. They can click and go straight to the donation or where they can fundraise with you. So
Cool.
we'll have all the information in the custom player.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thanks, Serdy, and thank you for listening.
No problem, man. Hey, this has been the shortest broadcast in the history of the Hurdy-Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night from 7 to 8. We're here every Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Good night.